A timid young man caught in a love triangle. Get ready for some unexpected twist. You are on Weird Movie Recap. Let's dive in. The film opens with two women lying down talking and enjoying the sun on an Australian beach full of surfers. In this setting, we meet Ian and Tom, childhood friends whose bond is as close as that of brothers. Now in their early 20s, they spend their days surfing, drinking, and embracing the carefree beauty of their coastal home. The women are Lil and Roz, two lifelong best friends living in a luxurious beachside home. Roz, on the other hand, is married to Harold, a successful professor. Despite the picturesque setting, tension simmers beneath the surface. Roz's marriage is crumbling. Harold has been offered a job in Sydney and expects her to move with him. However, Roz hesitates, reluctant to leave the only life she has ever known. Harold does not want to let this opportunity slip away. He talks about it with his wife, who supports him. Lately, their relationship has been complicated, and Harold has begun to suspect that something is going on with his wife. Unsure of how to bring it up, he decides to broach the subject before leaving for Sydney. Roz is both surprised and amused. When Harold reveals his suspicion, he believes she is in a relationship with Liz. He argues that she spends more time with Liz than with him. But for Roz, this is nothing more than a minor concern. Later, Roz meets up with Liz and shares what her husband thinks.
We're not lesos.
The two women burst into laughter, joking that Harold must be crazy to believe they could be lesos. It's even funnier since they remember their childhood when they practiced kissing together. The following Saturday night, all together they share fun times together, but Lil decides to go home while Ian stays to spend the night. Harold has just returned. In the middle of the night, Roz wakes up to go to the kitchen. Curious, she goes to the room where Ian is sleeping. She approaches, and then, at the moment she was leaving, Ian wakes up. He asks if everything is okay. Liz stares at him, and both go back to sleep. The next day, Harold finally leaves for Sydney. From time to time when Ian is surfing alone, he meets up with Roz. She tells him that going swimming relaxes her and how much she loves the view. Meanwhile, Roz begins to see Ian in a new light, his admiration for her transforming into something deeper and more dangerous. They finally spend the afternoon enjoying the sun on their little raft. Ian begins to feel this little passion as well, and is not indifferent to the charm of his mother's friend. One evening, after a relaxed dinner at Roz's house, the four share laughter and wine, their bond stronger than ever. The atmosphere is very special, and the two women are in a flirtatious mood. While Tom is dancing with Liz, the other two share a seductive tension, staring into each other's eyes. As the night unfolds, Ian boldly makes his move. He sneaks into Roz's house and confesses his feelings for her. She is caught off guard by his audacity. He kisses her, knowing she won't resist, and they share an intimate moment together. Unfortunately, for Tom, this night, he can't find sleep. He wakes up and, while going to the kitchen, sees his mother, barely clothed, leaving the room. In that moment, he understands what has happened. His best friend just clapped his mother. As Roz and Ian embark on their secret relationship, Tom, driven by confusion and jealousy, retaliates in the most unexpected way. He decides to seduce Lil. He attempts to kiss her. For Lil, it's a moment of weakness, but she pushes him away. What the hell was that, Tom? Tom exhales sharply, frustrated. I don't know. Liz's face stiffens. She shifts uncomfortably. You just what? Thought you could kiss me out of nowhere? Come on, Liz. Don't act like there's nothing between us. Liz exhales sharply, shaking her head. Tom, pretending not to. It seems that she too thought the same thing for a while. Tom then reveals to her what he saw the night of their dinner. Her son hooking up with his mother. A few days later, Tom decides to wait at Liz's house all afternoon until she comes home. He's such an idiot that he couldn't find anything better. In any case, they share a moment together when she finally arrives. They talk about how to approach the subject with Ian and Roz. But after drinking champagne, Liz is rather tense because Tom won't go home. He sleeps on the couch, but in the middle of the night joins her, and the next day, they make love, satisfying their desires. But once the line is crossed, there is no turning back. Soon, Both women are entangled in passionate, illicit affairs with each other's sons. At first, they manage to keep their secrets hidden, sneaking around while maintaining their picture-perfect lives. But as their relationships grow more intense, so does the risk of exposure. Guilt begins to creep in, yet the addiction to their affairs proves impossible to resist. Back from Sydney, Harold immediately senses that something is off with his son.
You've changed. Have I?
During their conversation, Tom reassures him that everything is fine. His job is great, he's taken amazing photos, life in Sydney is going well. But Harold keeps circling back to the same thing. Tom has changed. He asks Roz if Tom has a new girlfriend. She seems surprised by the question and gives a vague response. Harold doesn't insist. Instead, he shifts the topic to himself, confessing that lately, he feels like he's been abandoned. Roz reassures him, telling him no one feels that way, that everything is fine. But Harold doesn't look convinced. Outside, Tom and Ian prepare their surfboards. Ian, however, avoids looking at Harold. He seems uncomfortable, even more so as he notices that Harold is not well. Later, out in the water, the two boys ride, but something is off. The usual camaraderie between them feels forced. Suddenly, they explode. Shoving turns into a full-on fight. They wrestle and drag each other underwater and furious. Tom is bleeding from a cut on his leg and Ian is out of breath. By the time they pull apart, they're exhausted. So they all go home, followed by their mothers. At home, Ian disinfects the wound despite everything. The two boys are exhausted. When all four of them sit around the table, Ian, still in a bad mood, avoids eye contact and refuses to talk. Then, without warning, he gets up. When Roz asks where he's going, he bluntly replies, "Your room." Tom immediately follows, saying he'll do the same. Without another word, he gets up and leaves as well. Their words hang in the air. Roz and Lil exchange a glance, surprised but not entirely disapproving. Harold, on the other hand, looks completely lost. He turns to Roz, frustrated. He tells her he doesn't understand what's going on. He suggests that she and Tom should come live in Sydney, insisting it would be great for both of them. But Roz hesitates. She vaguely says she isn't ready, that Tom will join Harold later for university, but as for herself, she doesn't like big cities. Harold doesn't buy it. He grows visibly annoyed, with disappointment written all over his face. He heads back to Sydney, feeling shut out. After Harold leaves, Lil and Roz come to a painful decision. Their forbidden relationships with each other's sons must end immediately. They know it can't go on forever, that they've crossed a line they'll never be able to justify. But first, they must do one last thing: satisfy their desire. From then on, it's like all restraints are gone. They accept their relationship, find themselves at the beach, except that now they are swingers. It's a weird movie, right? Tom seeks out Roz, opening up about how difficult the past few weeks have been. Roz acknowledges that what they're doing is wrong, but neither can seem to stop. Their words don't change anything. Before long, they give in to their feelings once again. At the same time that Lily's having fun with Tom, they end up making love.